Hello everyone and welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. My name is Jeff and this is my official Great Guitar Build Off 2021 entry video. We're going to cover the entire building process as well as some cool sound demos of me building this Haley Guitars Dorian with a lava burst finish. So a quick rundown of a few of the specs. This guitar has a maple neck with a rosewood fretboard. It has a scale length of 25.5 inches. We've got Goto tuners, Scheller bridge, we've got Seymour Duncan, Nazgul, and Sentient humbucker pickups, CTS pots, Switchcraft jack, and this guitar is currently strung up with a set of 10 to 46 Ernie Ball strings. And now for probably what is the hardest part of this entire build, we're going to cover the entire building process and still meet the 15-minute deadline. You ready? Let's do this.
The body for my Dorian is a two-piece mahogany body. I jointed the edges book match style to get a nice tight glue joint. With the mahogany clamped up, I can now begin working on the book-matched quilted maple top. Now I'll set the top aside to dry and attach my template to the body using double-sided tape. I'll use the bandsaw to remove the bulk of the waste material. And once the top is dry, I'll remove the waste material on that as well. Now we can apply a bunch of glue and glue the top to the body. And now it's time to break out all the clamps and clamp this thing in place. After letting that glue dry overnight, I'll then reattach my template and use a flush trim bit to route the body shape flush with my template. And while I'm at the router table, I'm going to use an offcut from the top to route the control cavity cover. Now I'll use my set of body templates to route the control cavity as well as the neck pocket and pickup cavities.
There we go.
And now we can move on and start building the neck, which is going to be made from hard rock maple. I like hard maple because, well, as the name suggests, it's really hard and really sturdy and makes a great neck. The first few steps are almost the same as the body. We'll cut away the waste material and then route it flush using our template. To make this neck super stable, it's going to have a two-way truss rod as well as two carbon fiber reinforcing rods. I'll use a sled in my router to route both the truss rod channel and the slots for the carbon fiber rods.
So there we have the truss rod channel as well as the channels for the carbon fiber rods. We are ready to move on and start making a fretboard.
I chose to use rosewood for my fretboard. I really love the look and feel of a rosewood fretboard. First, I'm going to resaw this piece of rosewood down to a couple of thinner blanks. The drum sander makes quick work of flattening out a board after being resawed. One of these blanks is going to go to a different build later on. And now we're ready to cut some fret slots. After cutting all the fret slots, I'll finally cut the fretboard down to its final length. And now it's time to glue up the neck. I'm using a clamping caul to help apply even pressure across the entire fretboard.
If you're ever wondering how many clamps is enough, all of them. Let's let this dry.
Once the fretboard's dry, again I'll use the bandsaw to remove the waste material from the edge of the fretboard. Then it's back over to the router table to route the fretboard flush with the side of the neck. And now I'm going to use this handy little gadget, which really is a block of wood with a pencil in the middle, to mark out where I need to remove material on the headstock. And now we have a nice line to follow over at the bandsaw to remove some excess thickness from the headstock. I've created this jig for my oscillating spindle sander, which allows me to flatten the headstock as well as sand a nice transition into the end of the fretboard. Now with the neck loaded up into another jig, I can use a small trim router to route the relief at the end of the headstock. This is where the logo is going to go.
Nice.
Now I'll drill a couple of shallow holes at the 12th fret to install some maple dowels, which will be the fretboard markers. Once the markers are glued in place, I'll trim them flush with a flush trim saw. And now it's time for an arm workout. I'm going to use PSA sandpaper on some radius blocks to sand the radius into the fretboard. And before I forget to do it, I'm going to use a special stepped drill bit to drill 10mm tuner holes. Now it's finally time to radius some fret wire and start cutting frets. These get pressed in with my homemade fret press, which was originally an arbor press, now converted over to be a fret press. And now for the part we've all been waiting for, it's time to start shaping the neck. To remove the bulk of the material, I'm going to use my neck carving jig in a router. I don't take it to the final depth with this jig. We're going to save that for another arm workout.
Well, my arms are tired. That's a good thing because that means we've done something today. I think now our neck is ready to stop where we are. We still got a bunch of sanding to do, but we can do that later on when we're getting ready for the finish. The very last thing that I want to do is get this attached to the body, so I need to drill a couple of holes in the back of the body to accept the neck ferrules, and then we can screw this thing down, make sure everything fits good, and wrap this up.
After bolting on the neck and checking the fit, I believe we're ready to start getting everything prepared for finish. And by preparing for finish, well, I really mostly mean just sand. Before I begin sanding the body, I do need to drill the holes in the top for the controls, as well as the hole on the side for the output jack. And why not throw in another arm workout, carving a belly contour and some comfort carves around the neck pocket. With all that carving out of the way, now I'm going to apply a couple of coats of Crystalac water-based grain filler to make sure all of the pores in the mahogany are filled and we get a nice glass smooth finish. Hey look, more sanding.
Must keep sanding.
And now for the moment I've been waiting for since starting this build. It's time to start putting some color on the top. I'm going to start out with this sort of ambery brown. This is going to give some depth to the color. Most of it's going to get sanded off. Then I'll begin applying what I'm calling the lava burst finish. It's going to be a red which fades into orange with a yellow right in the center. While the dye on the body dries, I'll apply a couple of coats of finishing oil to the neck. I just love the feel of an oil finish neck. Now I can begin mixing up the finish which will get sprayed on the body. I'm going to put on several coats of Crystalac Bright Tone. Once the bright tone has fully cured, it's going to get level sanded with 2000 grit sandpaper and then polished up to a high gloss. With all of the parts completed and the finish applied, I can now begin the assembly process.
Now that we have our Dorian all assembled and ready to go, we need to hear how this thing sounds. Therein lies a problem. I'm left-handed, this is a right-handed instrument, so to get this done, I had to call on my good friend Jesse to give this thing a try. Thanks a lot, man. Let's check this out. Well, I am super happy with the way this thing sounds. For me, the most satisfying part of the whole entire build is actually listening to another person play an instrument that you created. That is the coolest part for me, and I love listening to people play on instruments that I build. So I want to say thank you guys for checking out this video for the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021. If you're interested in more in-depth information about any step during this whole build, there's links in the description for all of my videos in this series. Thanks a lot for watching, and good luck to everybody in the Great Guitar Build-Off 2021.